بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد النبي العالمين الذي اسمه مكتوب في الإنجيل والتوراة أما بعد فقد قال عز وجل في كتابه العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم والله غفور رحيم وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من والده وولده والناس أجمعين وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من أحيا سنتي عند فساد أمتي فله أجر 100 شهيد وكما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. And your brothers, fellow sisters in Islam, human beings since the inception of mankind have been naturally designed to be attracted to specific qualities in the world. And one of those qualities that humans, since the beginning of mankind, since Adam and Eve, and this quality will last with us to the last human that lives in this world. Each and every single human that has lived upon this earth, regardless of their cultural backgrounds or their religion that they follow, which country they come from, the age that they live in, the era that they are from, every single human is naturally inclined to this one quality. And this quality is not power, nor wealth, nor education, not beauty, because some people are attracted to it, some people aren't. People have different definitions of what beauty is, the eyes and the beholder. People have different definitions of what intelligence is. But everyone is equally attracted to this one quality. This quality, my brothers and young sisters, is that humans love greatness. Humans love excellence. Humans love perfection. This is why we see in the world today that a person that learns how to simply shoot a ball inside of a net with perfection, he learns the simple and perhaps a very tedious skill, which is to put a basketball inside of a basket. And he becomes good in it. He starts at a young age, 4 or 5, and continues playing that sport until he reaches an age, and now he goes and becomes a pro at that sport. That same individual, brother or sister, will now become the role model of all youngsters in our country. Because he learned how to shoot a ball in a basket. It's not because he learned how to shoot a ball in a basket, it's because he perfected that skill. Today we see a person that learns how to shoot a ball inside of a net. Tomorrow they become the soccer stars. And humans across the world flock towards them. They become the role models. And in every field, such is the case. Humans are attracted to perfection, despite and regardless of the fact that these people may have their domestic lives and their internal lives in shambles in other places. They may know how to shoot a ball, but internally, they may be, the most evil and hideous people. But people will still like them, because they learn how to perfect a skill. Naturally, humans are like that. My brothers and sisters, in my opinion, if we can be attracted to people that excel and that seek perfection in qualities of the world, such as sports, medicine, education, and we're attracted to that, and we have a natural pull towards that, it is very difficult for us not to be attracted to that person or that personality who not only brought perfection to different skills of life, who not only brought perfection to being a father, who not only brought perfection to being a teacher, who not only brought perfection to being a husband, who not only brought perfection to being a student, who not only brought perfection to being a laborer, who not only brought a perfection to being a helpful person inside of the house, who not only brought perfection in regards to being a friend and a companion. This man, this human, this individual brought perfection in every aspect of his life. And through his perfection, people flocked around him. People were forced to be pulled in by his perfection and excellence. People were forced to be attracted to him because he perfected qualities within his life. And it's difficult to say that if we know his perfection and if we know his excellence, why are we so far behind? Why do we have so much work left to do? Perhaps because we have not understood his perfection. We have we have become incapable to understand the epitome of his perfection and excellence. How great of a man he actually was. And this, my brothers and sisters, is none other than our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, peace and blessings be upon him. Who was this man? The topic that was given was a very vast topic, and it's a good topic, but it's pretty broad. The question is, who was Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? And while I was thinking about the topic, I said, what do people really want to know about this man? Everyone knows how great he was. What do people really want to know about who he actually was? And we are not the first people to ask this question. The Tabi'een would come to Aisha radiallahu anha, and once they asked him, O Ummahatul Mu'mineen, you are a mother, please describe to us how your husband was. Who was Muhammad? Who was he? Explain him, who he actually was. So Aisha radiallahu anha said, if you really want to know how he was, just open the Quran, open the book of Allah and read it. You will find the exact definition of his life. And you will find all the qualities that you are looking for within the Quran. You don't have to look anywhere else. When I thought about this hadith, I went back into a corner in my head and I said, what qualities in the Quran right now are relatable to us that Allah discusses in the Quran? Right now, what are relatable to us as youngsters living on campus or studying in campus or even young professionals or young mothers and fathers? And I came to the conclusion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the theme of the Prophet's life in the Quran can be summarized into three amazing qualities throughout the Quran. The first one, in Surah Duha, Allah speaks about the point that how this man went through trials and difficulties and afflictions in his entire life, but never stopped moving forward. He never settled for mediocrity in his life. مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. This was at a time where people were continuously harassing him, but he never stopped. We'll talk more about each quality. The second quality, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about, is the Prophet was sent as rahmatul lil alameen. He was sent as a mercy to mankind. Not a mercy to Muslims, not a mercy to humans, but rather a mercy to mankind. The third quality, which is quite interesting, is that Allah speaks about the effect that he had on people around him. How he was a mover and changer and a motivator. A Muhammadur Rasulullah. وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ. The Prophet was who he was, but the people with him were not too far behind. They were special individuals, special companions. This is who he was. Once, the Sahaba radiallahu ajma'in, they would sit and they would literally look at the Prophet ﷺ and they would count. They would count the gems that would come out of his mouth and they would think about each thing to try to find out who he was. Who is this man? He's so special. Once the Prophet ﷺ was traveling from Mecca to Medina, while his migration was taking place, and he stopped off at a house, and in that house, imagine, multiple days without food and drinks, any type of provision and sustenance. Finally, he gets to this house, and they knock on the door and they ask, there was a lady that opened the door. Her name was Ayman. They ask, oh lady, oh sister, do you have anything to give us? We have no food, we're travelers. We have no water. We have not eaten anything for a few days. So she says to them, I promise you, I have nothing in my house. We have absolutely nothing in our house. We're going through a very difficult time, and I can't really help you. So he says, you have absolutely nothing in your house? Like not even a small piece of bread, nothing? She says, no, I have this small goat, this small animal, which is unable to give milk. Because it's so weak, and it has not eaten or drinking anything for days, because we have no food. So it cannot give you milk. So you have no benefit in checking out the cow or the animal. Just move on. The Prophet says, no, let me see this animal. And he goes inside, and he goes to the animal. This is from the miracle of the Prophet ﷺ. He touches the animal, and the animal becomes full of milk. And he milks the animal, and he drinks, and he gives to Abu Bakr, and he saves milk for the people of the house. So when this incident took place, Later on in the day, the husband came home and he asked the wife, how couples ask each other, how was your day? So the husband said, oh my wife, how was your day? He says, you know what, today was a very interesting day. I said, what happened? Today was amazing. Like, please explain what happened. And she relates the whole incident of the Prophet ﷺ coming and taking the milk. The guy, so impressed, he says, oh my wife, please explain to me who this man was. And this was the natural effect that the sunnah of the Prophet would have. That when people would see it, or if they would hear it, or if they would be even exposed to it, they would be attracted to it because it's so pure and beautiful. Today, I mentioned this multiple times. If we say that people around us are not nice to us, or not kind to us, or not beloved to us, or not loving to us, perhaps it's because we have not shown them the correct character of the Prophet ﷺ. We have not shown them the correct sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. This lady says, today I saw a man, رَأَيْتُ رَجُلًا ظَاهِرَ الْوَضَاءَ مَلِيحَ الْوَجْهِ قَصِيمُ الْوَجْهِ وَسِيمٌ قَصِيمٌ فِي عَيْنَيْهِ دَعَجْ. I saw a man of a striking appearance. Today we want to speak about the physical beauty of the Prophet ﷺ. Today I saw a man of a striking appearance. مَلِيحَ الْوَجْهِ. His face was so radiant. قَصِيمٌ وَسِيمٌ. His body was so proportionately given to him. His head was not extra large and his body was small. Everything was so perfect on his body. فِي عَيْنَيْهِ دَعَجْ. His eyes were of a strong contrast. The white of his eyes was excessively white, and the black was immensely black, which is a sign of beauty indeed. وَفِي أَشْفَارِهِ وَطَفْ. And his eyelashes were nice and they were thick, but they did not connect. She's describing this man, she's describing the Prophet ﷺ, and the husband is saying, I have to meet this man. And the story continues that later on he goes and he becomes a Muslim, he accepts the religion of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. This was the effect that this sunnah had, just hearing about the Prophet ﷺ. What were his qualities? We look in the Quran, and this is where we come to the topic, that perfection in specific qualities. Today we have enough people in the world that are seeking perfection in sports. We don't have a lacking of that. We have enough people in the world that are even seeking perfection in medicine. We have enough people in the world that are seeking perfection in IT. But we have a very small pool of people that are seeking perfection and excellence in being a human. How should I be as a human? How can I perfect myself as a human being living in this country? How can I perfect my deen? Because sometimes we think that every way I look, in every turn that I go to, in every alleyway I walk into, there are barriers and there are hurdles to walk over in regards to perfecting my deen and to taking care of my deen. But look at the Prophet ﷺ. Throughout his life, the theme of the Quran, the first theme of the Quran about the life of the Prophet was, he never stopped moving forward. Even though trial after trial, tribulation after tribulation, it started off when the people of Mecca would say that Muhammad is a man, he is Sadiqul Ameen, he is the most trustworthy and honest person. But it started off that when this individual became that same person, where they trusted him and they loved him, and he was the most trusted person in Mecca. There was not a person in Mecca that was more beloved to the people than Muhammad ﷺ. But when he came up and he said, قُولُوا لَا إِلَّهِ إِلَّا اللَّهُ تُفْلِحُونَ, say the kalima and you will succeed. It changed within minutes. The people that were loving him became hateful towards him. The people that were speaking to him became silent towards him. The people that were trusting him would remove the trust from him just by him saying this small sentence. The world had flipped on him. The world had flipped on him. Today, our GPA falls. We're like, oh my God, what do I do? Today we lose our job. It's like the world has ended. The world had flipped on him. The friends have become enemies. The family has turned against him. His daughters that were married have become widows. Because the people have said, we're not keeping our children married to this guy. His daughters have become widows. His wife, who was the queen of Mecca, the merchant, the queen of Mecca, the lady who everyone respected, she is the only one left with him. How they say Muhammad was a man who started his prophethood in the lap of a lady, and he ended his life in the lap of a lady. He started his prophethood in the lap of Khadija. Zammiluni, zammiluni, dathiruni, dathiruni. Take me, cover me. And he left his life in the wrapping of Aisha radiallahu anha. This is the effect that the great woman of Islam had on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nonetheless, he started off with this, Then it continued, where every person in the family of the Prophet went through trials. It was not a one-man thing. The Prophet ﷺ is praying in Haram. And Abu Lahab and the Mushrikeen of Makkah decide that they would literally sit down and strategize and plan how they could harm the Prophet. They would think about, we think about how to plan an event, how to plan our schedule, how to plan our day. They would sit down, the smartest minds of Makkah in regards to this dunya, they would sit down and they would plan how to harm the Prophet ﷺ. So one day they're sitting and say, you know what? This man, he has the audacity to come pray his prayer in the open, near the Kaaba. We cannot accept this. So they said, today we will take the intestines of the animal, the camel, in some narrations, a cow, and we will take these intestines and we will throw it on the back of Muhammad ﷺ while he is in the form of sajda. So while he's in sajda, we're going to throw these intestines on him and make him suffer. They come, they pile these intestines up, they get to the Prophet ﷺ and they have the audacity, as wretched as they were, to throw the intestine on top of the Prophet on the back. And the Prophet, imagine the weight of these intestines in the inner limbs of this camel. The Prophet is unable to get up from sajda. And he is stuck in sajda. From a distance away, a young little girl that had so much love for this man, she sees this and she runs furiously and viciously and as fast as she possibly could with her small feet that she had. And she gets to the Prophet ﷺ and she is crying and she is rubbing her tears and she is saying, Ya Abata, Ya Abata. And this young girl was none other than the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, Fatima radiallahu anha. And she's crying for the Prophet and she's taking her beloved small hands and she's removing the filth off the back of the Prophet ﷺ. While she is crying, the Prophet gets back up and he takes his inner cloth and he wipes the tears off the face of his daughter and he says, oh my daughter, don't worry. All of this, we will get the reward of it in the hereafter. Don't worry about it. Don't cry. Don't stress it. A time will come where your father will be the leader of the people of Makkah. A time will come where the people of Makkah will have to believe. And they will have to respect. And they will have to honor. And they will have to understand there's more to life than causing pain and suffering to. This is how the family was. Perhaps the most influential person in the life of the Prophet ﷺ was Khadija radiallahu anha. Khadija was a woman that was known as the most rich and wealthy lady in not only in Mecca, but rather the whole Hijaz. She was so wealthy. Fast forward after prophethood, when I went to Umrah last time, I had the chance to actually go to Jannatul Mala, where the grave of Khadija is. And I had the chance for the first time in my life. Alhamdulillah, Allah's given me the chance to go for Umrah before, but this was the first time I had the chance to actually get inside the graveyard, because generally they don't allow you inside. And I was able to stand in front of this grave. And wallahi, without any exaggeration, perhaps one of the most affected and emotional moments that I had was standing in front of her grave. Even more probably than standing in front of the Kaaba. Because it just brought a flashback of how much this lady did. So eloquent, so proficient, so wealthy. She had made it. She had no need to sacrifice. And it reminded me of that time when the people had boycotted the Prophet ﷺ and the Muslims. They told Khadija, you don't have to go with them. And she says, no, I will go with my husband. 3 years of boycott. 3 years. We say sometimes, it's difficult for us. We don't have the same opportunities as Muslims. We don't have the same opportunities. We don't have the same openings. Imagine boycotted for 3 entire years. In a valley. And Khadija is with them. And the Prophet relates the incident. That a time came that Khadija was unable to speak because her lips were so patched. Her lips were so patched, thus she was actually unable to speak. Due to the fact that she had not drank any water for multiple days. So Khadija, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, when her son Ibrahim, when her son Qasim passed away, she was crying. For 1 day she was crying, 2nd day she cried, the 3rd day she was crying. After that, the Prophet entered the house and said, oh Khadija, why are you crying for? She said, oh, I miss my son. So why are you crying for? Why do you miss your son? Don't you know where he is? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I miss my son, but I'm not crying because of that. I'm crying because my son, when he was in this world, I was responsible for his sustenance. I was breastfeeding him. I was giving him food. Now when I think about my little baby, who is taking care of him, tears start streaming down my eyes when I think about this. The Prophet said, oh Khadija, if you want, if you want, I can ask Allah to open the doors of Jannah for you in the skies and open the unseen, and Allah will show you the hur, the woman of Jannah who are feeding your child. Allah will show it to you. She looks at the Prophet and says, قَدْ قُلْتَ كَفَيْتَ. You have said it, I don't need to see it. You have said it, it is enough for me. And she takes her cloth and she wipes her eyes and she stops crying. There was sacrifice upon sacrifice in the Prophet's life, not just in Mecca. We fast forward to Medina. People think Medina was easy for the Prophet. Actually, in many ways, Medina was more difficult to the Prophet. Because in Mecca, he only had the non-Muslims, the mushrikeen. In Medina, he had the munafiqeen. He had the Yahud. He had so many people getting together against him. It was very difficult. How many times they tried to assassinate the Prophet ﷺ? And this was his dedication and his excellence, not just because he knew this was his responsibility. It was a fact of the matter that it doesn't matter who we are. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what you do in life. If you've decided that I have to excel in being a human, if I have to excel in being a follower of the Prophet ﷺ, then I have to do it. There shouldn't be no reason why you stop praying. Really, there should be no reason why you start being confused about your religion. There should be absolutely no reason why you think you're inferior to anyone else. There should be no reason why you think that the Prophet was not the greatest man to walk on this earth. It does not matter what anyone says. Michael H. Hart, who sold the best, the most accepted, he wrote a book about the 100 most influential people to walk on the surface of this earth. He was a Christian that taught in a university in England, and he wrote number 1, Muhammad. Because there's no denying this fact. That he was the most influential, the most excellent person to walk on the surface of this earth. All the prophets were great. All the prophets were لَا نُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ أَحَدٍ مِّن رُسُلِهِ. Part of our aqidah and belief is that we don't differentiate between prophets. Isa a.s., Musa a.s., Ibrahim, all of them were great. There should be no reason why we think to ourselves, hey, I should hide my deen because people might look at me in a different way. I mean, forgive me for my tone, but why? Do people that believe in other things hide what they believe in? The people that believe in the most tedious things that should be hidden at times, they're not scared. They're not ashamed. We have something so special. And believe you me, لا تقوم الساعة حتى يقال في الأرض الله الله. The day of judgment is just waiting. It's just waiting. The world is existing and subsisting because people like you and I are around and are saying the name of Allah. Until the name of Allah is being said in this world, Allah will not finish the world. The day of Qiyamah, the day of judgment will not come because we believe. Not only do we believe, but our belief should naturally equate into actions. How much time do I have left? Okay, I'm late into my time.
No, he's saying
We'll say. It's already? His belief actually equates into his action. This was his first quality. As youngsters over here, we have to put our hard hats on and think to ourselves that every day is a challenge, but there was no such thing. We think we have Islamophobes around us. We have Islamophobes that come to our schools or that see us in the gas station. The other day I was in the gas station filling up my gas, and I was wearing my Aladdin cap. That's what he called it. And he's like, hey Aladdin, what's going on? I was like, whoa. I'm like, is Aladdin real? I was looking around, like, maybe there's a genie gonna pop up somewhere. It's like, wow, this is interesting, And she's looking at me, I'm like, me? It's like, wow, cool. And they started going off. And really, I was so frustrated and furious because your entire day has gone by. And you had a long day, and a bunch of kids that bothered you. You had other issues. You had this, you had that issue. You're like, oh, I'm just finished. And this person comes off and starts saying these things. While I was thinking about it, like, you know what? Why am I furious for it? Why am I angry for it? I feel sorry for them. Because that's how the Prophet acted. When he went to Ta'if, in the city of Ta'if, history has not recorded such a bloody event against any prophet. Such a hideous event where the Prophet ﷺ went as a guest. This is an unspoken rule of life. You don't harm your guests. He went as a guest to the city of Ta'if. And the people of Ta'if started, the little kids, and you guys are in college, but if once you start working and you have a kid saying stuff to you, like, what the heck, who are you? Right? Right now, if you're in college, you're thinking about middle school kids. Middle school kids can't say anything to me. I'm in uni. I'm way ahead of them. I'm way beyond them. And we haven't achieved too much in our life. We're still nobodies, really. Maybe we have a 4.0 GPA, maybe we have a nice car, maybe we have, a good job, but we really haven't achieved much in life as of yet. The Prophet ﷺ has already been given the seal of the Prophet. He's the greatest man to walk. He's been given the glad tidings of Jannah. But still, imagine little kids, little munchkins running around, grabbing stones and throwing it at him. And not just throwing it, pelting him with stones until his shoes became clogged with blood. We really have to think about this. What does that mean? If someone throws something at me once right here, I'm not going to bleed. If someone throws a rock at me here, then throws it here, then throws it here, then throws it here, then throws it here, I'm not going to bleed. If someone continuously throws a rock at one spot, continuously, that's where blood starts gushing out. Not just one rock. The Prophet's body was gushing with blood. And when all this happened, and he finally found some shelter, he looked up and he said to Allah, Allahumma inni ashku ilayka du'fa quwwati. When Jibreel came to him and said, oh Ya Rasulullah, the angels of the mountains came. He said, oh Rasulullah, if you want, just say the words. Just say it. We will crush the city between the mountains. We'll crush them. We'll make it such that it never existed. The Prophet said, no. Allahumma inni ashku ilayka du'fa quwwati wa qillata mahalati wa hawani ala nas. He said, Ya Allah, I complain to you about my weakness, about my technique. My technique was wrong. I'm not skilled enough. So if people are speaking ill about us, it's not a big deal. We are not providing the correct image and the persona that we should be providing, because we're scared to provide it to ourselves. Sometimes we have to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, how Allama Iqbal would say, "Apne man mein dub kar baata chura di zindagi." Sometimes you just gotta look in the mirror and say, not look in the mirror and say, what do I have pimples? And how should I comb my hair? That's also important. But look in the mirror and say that, how much deen do I have in my life today? And continuously do that. Not literally look in the mirror. Moms will be like, oh, you're still in the washroom? I'm looking in the mirror, Mom. Gotta find out how much deen I have. No. But we have to think about it on a daily basis. How much better am I getting? Every field in our life, we are always trying to progress. Looking at, if last year we were in our first year, now we're in our second year. If we were in our second year, now we're in our third year. If we're working for a company for 3 years, you wanna raise. Because we naturally want to progress in life. How much have we progressed? Last year, Islamic Awareness Week. This year, Islamic Awareness Week. Next year, Islamic Awareness Week for our life. How much have we actually progressed internally? What have we done? How much have we moved ahead? And when we think about the great people, the luminaries of Islam, the people they're the ones that kept the lantern of deen alive in the history of Islam. We speak about these people, such as Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, such as Ali ibn Abi Talib, such as Khalid ibn Walid, such as Umar ibn al-Aziz. We speak about these guys and we think that they're fairy tales. Because how are they able to do this? If we open the books of history and we speak about how the Crusaders marched into Palestine and they committed one of the biggest atrocities of mankind in killing all the Muslims that were living in that city, in that state. And the historians say that blood had reached the ankles of the Muslims, of them. The blood had reached the hooves of the horses. The Muslims were viciously eradicated from that land. And we fast forward 73 years, and this man by the name of... I shouldn't have time for the third one. The second one was, he was rahmatul lil alamin. The Prophet ﷺ was a man who was sent as a mercy to mankind. And if we open the books of this man's history, and we just look at the amount of harm and pain and suffering people caused him, and his reaction to that, it brings tears to the eyes. When the Prophet ﷺ was going back to Fath Makkah, after 8 years of living in Medina, and after he was kicked out of his own homeland, he was not a refugee. Today we get angry, oh look, they're kicking out refugees. He was not an immigrant. We're all immigrants, right? Everyone in America is immigrants. They've come from somewhere. No one is, except for the people that are already here, everyone's come from somewhere. We're all immigrants. We feel bad if we're kicked out. The Prophet ﷺ, his grandfather was the one that set the mark of Makkah. He founded the city of Makkah, Ibrahim. Abraham a.s. was the one that founded Makkah. And he is being kicked out of his own city, his own house. 8 years later, imagine Sahabas, the companions of the Prophet, they're all coming back together. Imagine the amount of anger these people have boiled up in their hearts. They're the one that kicked us out. They killed our families. They did this to us. They did that to us. They looted us. They robbed us. And they're coming back. They're energized. They're motivated. They're thinking that this is the day that we will get all of our revenge. And they're walking into the city of Mecca. And while they're walking in, they're making a chant. They're making a chant. They're chanting. They're saying, Al-Yawm, Al-Yawm, Yawm al-Malhama. They're saying, today is a day of revenge. Today is a day of butchery. All those people that harmed us, all those people that killed our families, all those people that made any type of remarks to us, we're going to get them back. Now we're the upper hand. We're their rulers, and they're the ones beneath us. And this is our chance to get our revenge. And they had all the right in the world to do it. This chant this chant of theirs reaches the ears of the Prophet ﷺ. And when he hears this chant, he calls the Sahabas and he says, what are you guys saying? They say, Ya Rasulullah, we're saying, Al-Yawm Yawm al-Malhama. Today is a day of revenge. The Prophet said, don't say that. The Prophet said, La taqul hakada. Don't say this. Don't say this. Today is not the day of revenge. So they say, Ya Rasulullah, what should we say? If we can't say this, tell us what should we say. He said, O my companions, you say, Al-Yawm Yawm al-Marhama. Today is a day of mercy. Today is a day of mercy. Today we will show the world what the exact definition of Islam is. That when we had the chance of taking all the revenge in the world that we wanted, we could have butchered them. We could have killed them. We could have taken their lives if we wanted. But we walked inside of the city and every single person was given safety. The Prophet said first, Man dakhala dara Abu Sufyan, that person that enters the house of Abu Sufyan, faqad amana, he is safe. Abu Sufyan says, Ya Rasulullah, that's not enough. That's not enough. My house is small. The Prophet says, whoever enters into the house of Baytullah, in the Kaaba, whoever enters inside of Haram, they will be saved. Abu Sufyan says, but not everyone can fit inside Haram, Ya Rasulullah, that's not enough. Then the Prophet says, whoever stays inside of their house and closes their windows, they are safe. Everyone is safe. No one's life is taken. Even that man that killed the uncle of the Prophet Wahshi, the man that killed the uncle and it caused such pain to the Prophet. When Hamza passed away, the Prophet, they say about قَدْ he would cry and he would choke on his tears. Because he was so pained by the death of Hamza. When Hamza passed away, the Muslims, Uhud was a defeat for the Muslims in a sense. So the Muslims had all their own beloved dead ones, the shaheed, the shuhada that passed away. So all of them were crying for their own beloved family members or friends, and no one was crying for Hamza. So the Prophet ﷺ, after a salah, he looked at the Sahabas and he said, that you guys all remember your friends and your family? No one remembers Hamza, and he started crying. He loved Hamza. Hamza was his first support. After Hamza, when Hamza and Umar became Muslim in the 6th year of Nubuwwah, that's when Islam started flourishing. For the first 6 years of prophethood, the Prophet and the Muslims did not expose their deen. They did not expose it. They stayed inside of Dar al-Arqam and they worshipped inside of Dar al-Arqam. When Umar became Muslim, the Prophet, there's no more. I'm going out. And he came out the same day and he called Abu Lahab, he called a meeting of the chiefs of Makkah. And the chiefs of Makkah, like, Umar's going to do something today. And he said, guess what guys? I have accepted Islam. If you want to do something about it, go ahead and do it. So the first 6 years there was no open worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nonetheless, at this point, Wahshi, the man that killed Hamza, the Prophet, sees him and he is told, you also forgive him. I forgive him. Everyone was forgiven. The Sahaba related a story of a man whose name was Thumama al-Yamami, who was a chief of the people of Mecca. And this man, people of Yemen, Thumama al-Yamama, he was the chief of the people of Yemen. And this man killed many Sahabas. And he caused so much pain to the Sahabas. He was caught by the Prophet ﷺ in Sahabas. And he was wrapped around in the prison system for the Muslims at that time was that if you were caught doing something and if you're in trouble, they put you in the masjid, in the mosque, and they would tie you around, your hands around the member for the first few hours, and they would let you sit there. They would let you just sit there. So they brought him to the masjid. There was no jail, or there was no change of clothes, or you're inferior, or you're this, or you're that. You just sit here and watch us. You're not in trouble. Just sit here and watch us. Thumama is brought into the masjid, and the Prophet ﷺ comes to him, and he hits him on the chest. He says, كيف أجلك يا ثمامة? How are you doing? What are you thinking about? What's your plan? Do you want to become Muslim? Thumama says, you know what? I don't really want to become Muslim. I'm not interested in it. And تنم علي تنم على شاكرة. Ya Muhammad, oh Muhammad, this is how he addressed the Prophet ﷺ. And تنم علي تنم على شاكرة. If you help me and you let me go, I will be a very grateful person. And if you kill me, I deserve to be killed because I took so many lives. So the Prophet ﷺ leaves him and he orders the Sahabas, this man, you give him the same food that you eat. Give him the same provisions that you have in your houses. Give him the same provisions. Take care of him. Show him love. And the Sahaba start doing this for the first day. The second day the Prophet comes and again he hits him on the chest. He says, كيف أجدك يا ثمامة? What are you thinking about, O Thumama? And he answers us in the same way that he did the first day, that I'm not interested, O Prophet of Allah, O Muhammad, I'm not interested. The Prophet leaves him again. The third day he came, asked the same question and received the same answer. And after that he told, this is the time of Asr. Time of Asr and Maghrib is the smallest gap between Salat. Asr is prayed around 4:50, 5 o'clock, and Maghrib is at 6:30. It's a very small gap, 1 hour, 1 hour and 15 minutes. He leaves him after the Salat of Asr. After the Salat of Asr, the Prophet says, 3 days have gone, he does not want to accept our religion, let him go. It's okay, it's la ikraha fi din, we can't force him, you let him go. And he orders the Sahabas, let him free. And Thumama leaves. First of all, this was a man that killed Sahabas. The Prophet had all the right to take his life. He said, let him go, let him free. The Sahabas say, we were sitting inside of the mosque before the adhan of Maghrib. And we hear from a distance a man running in the courtyard. And he is yelling and shouting, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I bear witness in Allah. I bear witness in the Prophet of the Prophet ﷺ. And he's yelling. And we look behind us into our amusement and our complete surprise. We see Thumama, that same man that we had locked up in the masjid, he is running and his hair is still dripping with water because he just took a ghusl and came, and he's running to the masjid and he's screaming, where is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Ayna Rasulullah? Where is this man? And he comes to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he sits in front of him and he says, Da'ani yadak, O Prophet of Allah, give me your hand, let me take your hand. I want to become a Muslim. I want to become a Muslim. Not because he was forced, but the Prophet ﷺ showed love and compassion to him in the manner that we show our children, if not even more. That we show our wives, in our spouses, in our mothers. The same way the Prophet treated this person that killed Sahabas. There's a second quality that we find inside of the Quran of the Prophet ﷺ. Each of these qualities are honestly, each of these qualities are a lecture in themselves. They're an open ocean. But nonetheless, the third quality, we'll just talk about it for a few minutes, was وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ. The people that believed with the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ had the instinct and the quality of making them great people also. So one is that you're influential. One is that you're smart. One is that you're intelligent. But one is using your own skills to help people around you. The Prophet ﷺ was able to use that talent that he was given by Allah to make the people around him great individuals, great personalities. And thus, if you look at the Sahabas, you will look across the board, every single field that you want to look in, the Sahabas were excelling in there. The Sahabas were great in every single field. And they were not only great in regards to dunya, they excelled in regards to deen, and they kept this together until the tabi'een, and they went and continued this. And thus, deen has reached us. It is a responsibility upon us that in this country, if we don't take it as a burden, that if we have to control our own deen, we have to make sure we're living with Islam on our sleeve. There's no other way, perhaps. Because, believe you me, our children will only be half as pious as we are. If I pray salat once in a day, my kid will probably pray salat once in a week. If I pray salat once in a month, my children will probably pray salat once in a year. If I only go for Eid, my child will probably not even pray Eid. This is the way that it works. And this is not something that I'm saying. This is a proven fact from history. Andalusia, Islamic Spain, which was ruled by the Muslims for more than 700 years, do you think that the Muslims that came into that country, the parents and the people that first took over that country with Tariq ibn Ziyad, they were thinking of being kicked out of that country? That was their land for 700 years. But deen slowly crept away from their lives. Similarly, today we see how many masajid and mosques were once upon a time churches? How many? Just in Hamtramck and Warren, you can count almost 7-8 masjids which were churches. Do you think when the Christians first came here, they had a plan to sell their churches away? Of course not. They built their churches to be worshipped in. But slowly, if your religion is not, if I don't hold my own religion, I cannot expect my children to do that. I can't expect my family, my colleagues, my peers, my classmates. If we want to see perfection in society, so many times we say, I want to see the best akhlaq, I want to see the best people in my class, I want to see the best youngsters in my school. If we want to see perfection in our society, we first ask ourselves, have we reached our peak when it comes to akhlaq, in just good character? Are we good people? Forget about deen. Are we just good people? If we want to see our community and our siblings reach the peak of ibadah, of worship, deen is a combination of akhlaq and ibadah. You can't just be good and not worship Allah. And you can't just worship Allah and say, I don't care about my good character. They come hand in hand. On the Day of Judgment, if we walk up in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, walk in front of God, and we have our whole a'mal, all of our actions of worship and ibadah and of salat, where our character is absolutely full sifr, zero. Our character was the most wretched character in this world. Our ibadah will not fill up the cup of our akhlaq. Similarly, on the Day of Judgment, if we come with good character, but our prayer was weak, our character will not fill up the cup of salah. So we have to balance these two things. And so many times we have these lectures, so many times we sit in these lectures, so many times we give these lectures, and it sometimes becomes, when I was asked to come, I was reluctant, and I hesitated, not because I love to see you guys, and I'm honored to be here, but the fact was, why are we doing these events? Are we simply doing them because the MSA before us was also doing it? Hey, the people last year that were here, and the president that was here last year, he also had Islamic Awareness Week. And my brother, when he was studying here, he also had Islamic Awareness Week. Is that why we're doing it? To build a custom in our school? If that's the reason, we have to recheck our objective. If the reason is just to continue a theme, and to continue a habit that was set from the people before us, then we're doing the exact same thing in a sense that the mushrikeen would say to the prophets. The prophets would say, worship Allah. They would say, قَالُوا إِنَّا وَلِدْنَا آبَاءَنَا كَذَلِكَ يَفْعَلُونَ. We saw our forefathers and our predecessors do this, we can't change it. We're going to continue this, we're not changing. Why? It's very beneficial, but don't get me wrong. But the purpose of this has to be straight for all of us. If I come to this event, I have to take something back which is tangible for myself. Whether it may be that from now on, I will try my best to pray at least one salat in the masjid. And I did. If I'm not there, okay, it's okay. Wherever I am, if I'm a person that does not pray at all, because we're all weak, if I don't pray, then I make a decision that from today on, I will at least pray once a day. Or once a week. We start somewhere. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you despite and regardless of what you have done. You could have been a person that has intoxicated yourself in the streets and drugged yourself out and did all the evils in the world. Allah says, Ya ibn Adam, come back to me. لو بلغت ذنوبك عن السماء. If your sins reach up and pile up to the clouds in the heavens, and then you ask me for forgiveness, I will forgive you. غفرت لك ولا أبالي. And I will not even care. I won't even think about, just come. يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم. Don't lose hope in Allah. And this is very important. We have to have good hope about Allah. We have to have a good, they say it's called husn dhan. Husn dhan means we have to have good hopes about Allah. That Allah loves me. Allah will forgive me. Even if I mess up, Allah will still love me. Allah will still forgive me. Having good anticipation and a good feeling about Allah is very important. So from this gathering, so the last point, we take something tangible for ourselves. Because if we don't, it's just a ritual. It's nothing more than a ritual. We have to take something. And don't look at what the person next to you is taking. Because when we walk into when I walk into college, when you walk into college, you're not looking at what my classmate is doing in college. You have your vision made. I want to become a physician, I want to become an engineer, I want to become this. It doesn't matter what the guy next to you is doing. Who cares about him? I'm focused on what I want to do. Similarly, when you walk into this gathering, if you had nothing in your mind, I want this from it, leave with something. Leave with a few things in your mind. And there's three things that bring us together. A is we hold on to our prayer. You know, it doesn't matter where you are. Wallahi, because prayer is what keeps our iman afloat. If we don't go back to Allah, then when will we ever be able to speak to Allah? Imagine if a spouse does not speak to his husband or wife for multiple days. There's going to be problems in that marriage, right? There's no communication. There's going to be problems in my relationship if I don't communicate with them. So the first thing that we do is we take care of our prayer in our own manner. If we can't do as much as others, do whatever we can, but do more than what we were doing last year. If we can't do that, that means we haven't benefited from the gathering as much as we should have. Secondly, whatever character that we have and we walked in with, we increase it. If we love family only, now we love friends also. If we love family and friends, now we love more people. If we only love Muslims, now we love non-Muslims. If we love everyone, now we increase that. Become a person that when someone sees you, they're like, wow, I don't care about which religion he follows. He's such a great personality. He's so motivating. He's so nice. He's so kind. I just want to hug him. I just want to hug her. For females, this is how it should be. People look at us and get attracted to us. In the Prophet ﷺ, there are more than 33 people in Sirah. More than 33 people that became Muslims just by looking at the Prophet. Just from a distance. So much awe, love, reverence. If you don't love him, you can never win them. It does not matter if they love us or not, we love everyone. The second thing was, whatever character that we came into this gathering with, we increased that a little bit, whatever it may be. And the last thing was, if we truly want to love the Prophet ﷺ, we have to get to know who he is. And wallahi, 1 hour of a lecture in the university room can never come close to who this man was. Nothing can. But just small things that we can do. Open a book. Take a book about the life of the Prophet ﷺ. Read over a year. Any book. In the footsteps of Muhammad, Tariq Ramadan, the books that was just written a few years ago, I forget the author's name. Any English book, the sealed nectar you can take an English book and read about his life. That will naturally bring more love for you for this man. So that's number 3. We increase our prayer, our worship. We increase our love. That's number 2, which is equally important as the first. And last but not the least, we try to find more ways to connect ourselves to the person that loved us more than anyone else in this world. And that was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By reading a book, by sitting in more gatherings, by talking about him, by listening to lectures about him, whatever way it may be, we try to find more ways to increase our love of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this gathering a means of us getting closer to him. Make this gathering a means of us on the day of judgment. We can see each other, and if we're in trouble, we can tell Allah, Ya Allah, so-and-so person, so-and-so brother or sister, they were in this gathering and they were there for khair. Allah forgive them also. May make this gathering a means of us on the day of judgment having all of our sins forgiven. Wallah, we do not know what amal that Allah loves and He gives us Jannah. And we do not know which amal that He does not like and He takes us away from Jannah. So we have to be very careful on our actions. And lastly, kudos to all the people that put this together. You guys did a great job. This is, you guys are full-time students. Some of you guys are full-time. You guys are working in whichever field you're working in, and you still have time to put these things together. This is very important. May Allah bless you guys. May Allah give you guys more strength, more energy, more love for this work. Because don't look at how many people came. Because Deen, Islam was never, success was never looked in Islam as due to how many numbers or ta'adad that came. It was never about that. It was denoted to how much a'mal came from that event. How much iman increased. How many actions increased. How much our akhlaq increased. So it's not about how many people come, it's about how much I increase myself. And ilm, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. We read this ayah that indeed the knowledgeable people are the ones that fear Allah. The first and most primary and most elementary objective and goal of knowledge is that we bring more faith in Allah. And the most elementary objective of faith is that we bring more actions to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah bless you guys, keep it up, don't stop, and make sure that these young kids that are living in your campuses, the youngsters, the young brothers and sisters, you're responsible for them. On the day of judgment, we lived with them. We were their classmates, we were their roommates, we were their neighbors. We are responsible for them also being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our deen, our religion is not like the ones before us. We're responsible for everyone around us. It's our responsibility that our brothers and sisters also pray, and they also have love for akhlaq, they also have good akhlaq, they also have love for the Prophet, they also have love for humanity. That's my responsibility, that is also your responsibility. May Allah reward you guys, may Allah bless you guys. If I went over time, I don't apologize. No, actually, I'm only 7 minutes over, so it's not too bad. Jazakallah khair wa akhadha alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.